Today I am going to explain ethical and legal issues. So many ethical and legal issues in computer security system seem to be in the area of individuals' right to privacy versus the greater good of a larger entity, for example, company, society. For example, tracking how employees use the computers, crowd surveillance, managing the customer profiles, tracking a person's travel with a passport, location tracking so as to spam cell phone with a text message advertisement, and so on. Ethical issues in security systems are classified into four categories. First one is privacy, accuracy, property, accessibility. So what is meant by privacy? Privacy is that deals with the right and individual to control personal information. What is accuracy? This is nothing but responsibility for the authenticity, fidelity, and accuracy of the information. Property. In this property, this is nothing but we find out owner of the information and also who control access. Accessibility. This deals with the issue of the type of information an organization has the right to collect. Also expects to know the measures which will safeguard against any unforeseen eventualities. Privacy is nothing but a protection of a personal or sensitive information. Individual privacy is the desire to be left alone as an extension of our personal space and may or may not be supported by local regulations or laws. Different people have used the different ideas and how much privacy they'll be trade for safety or convenience. When dealing with the legal issues, we have to remember there is a hierarchy of regulatory bodies that govern the legality of information security. We can classify as like this: international. Example is International Cybercrime Treaty. Federal example FEPRA, GLB, IPA, DMCA, Teach Act, etc. State SB 1386, etc. Organization Computer Use Policy. Next, we'll discuss on types of attacks. In the type of attacks, there will be two views. That is, one is called as a common person's view, other one is called as a technologist view. In the common person's view, we classified as criminal attacks, publicity attacks, legal attacks. That means there will be three types based on the common person's view. One is called as a criminal attacks, other one is called as publicity attacks, third one is called as a legal attacks. What is meant by criminal attacks? Criminal attacks are the simplest to understand. Here, the attacker is to maximize the financial gain by attacking computer systems. For example, fraud is an attack. In this fraud, attackers concentrate on manipulating some aspects of electronic currency credit cards, electronic stock certificates, checks, letter of credits, purchase orders, and ATMs, etc. Another attack is called as scams. Scams come in various forms, the most common ones being sale of services, actions, multi-level marketing schemes, general merchandise and business opportunities, etc. People are enticed to send money in return of a great profits but end up losing their money. For example is Nigeria scam. So where an email from Nigeria entices people to deposit money into bank account with a promise of hefty gains. Whosoever gets caught in the scam loses money heavily. Another attack is called the destruction. Some sort of a grudge is the motive behind this attack. For example, unhappy employees attack their own organization, whereas terrorists strike at much bigger levels. For example, in the year 2000, there was an attack against popular internet sites such as Yahoo, CNN, eBay, Buy.com, Amazon.com, where authorized users of these sites fail to log in or access these sites. Next attack it is called as a identity theft. An attacker does not steal anything from a legitimate user, he becomes that legitimate user. For example, manage to get the password of someone else's bank account or to actually able to get a credit card on someone else's name. Then this privilege can be misused until it gets detected. Intellectual property theft. This is ranges from stealing the company's trade secrets, databases, digital music and videos, electronic documents and books, software, and so on. The last attack in criminal attack is called as a brand theft. This is very quite easy to set up a fake websites that look like a real website. So innocent users end up providing their secrets and personal details on these fake sites to the attackers. The attackers use these details to then access the real site, causing as an identity theft. For example, you have received so many messages. No, if you are not provided your KFC document to within 24 hours, your account will be blocked. Then followed by they'll send a link. That is, link is coming from not actually bank. That is, attacker has created a fake website. From there, they're sending the messages. If you click on the link and if you provided all the informations, then attacker they'll use the same information to steal your money in bank account. Another attacks is called as a publicity attacks. These attacks, attackers want to see their names appear in television, news channels, and newspapers. This type of attackers are usually not hardcore criminals, but they are students, like students or universities or employees in large organizations who seek publicity by adopting a novel approach of attacking computer systems. Third attack is called as a legal attack. In this attack, the attacker tries to make the judge or the jury doubtful about the security of a computer system. The attacker will be attacks the computer system and the attacked party, like say a bank or organization, manages to take the attacker to the court. While the case is being fought, the attacker tries to convince the judge and the jury that there is an inherent weakness in the computer system and that she has not done nothing wrongful. The aim of the attacker is to exploit the weakness of the judge and the jury in technology matters. According to technical view, theoretical concepts behind this attack is interceptions, fabrication, modification, and interruption. From the technical point of view, we can classify the attacks on computers and network systems in two categories for better understanding. The first one it is called as theoretical concept behind these attacks and the practical approaches used by the attackers. First, you will study this one theoretical concepts. The principles of security face threat from various attacks, and these attacks are generally classified into four categories. First one is called as interception. This is nothing but coming in the context of confidentiality. It means that an unauthorized party has gained access to a resource. The party can be a person or a program or computer based system. For example, interceptions or copying a data or programs and listening to network traffic. Fabrication. This is discussed in the context of authentication. This involves creation of illegal objects on a computer system. For example, attacker may add fake records to a database. Modification. Comes in the context of integrity. Attacker may modify the values in a database. Interruptions. This is coming under the context of availability. Here, the resource becomes unavailable, lost, or unusable. Examples of interruptions are causing problem to a hardware device, erasing program, data, or operating system components. The, these attacks are further classified into two types. One is called as a passive attacks, other one is called as a active attacks. So what is meant by passive attacks? In the passive attacks, attacker indulges in eavesdropping or monitoring of the data transmission. The attacker aims to obtain information that is in transit. Passive indicates that attacker does not attempt to perform any modifications to the data, but it is very harder to detect. General approach to deal with passive attacks is to think about prevention rather than detection or corrective actions. These passive attacks will be classified again into two subcategories. One is called as release of message content, other one is called as a traffic analysis. So release of message content is quite simple to understand. For example, when you send a confidential email message to our friend, we decide that only she be able to access it. The contents of the message are released against our wishes to someone else. But using certain security mechanisms, we can prevent release of message contents. For example, we can encode the message using a coding language. Only the desired party can understand this message because the desired party only know the code language. However, if many such messages are passing through, a passive attacker could try to figure out the similarities between them to come up with some sort of pattern that provides us some clues regarding the communication that is taking place. Such attempts of analyzing messages to come up with the likely pattern are the work of the traffic analysis attack. Another attack we can call as a active attacks. The active attacks are based on modification of the original message in some manner or the creation of a false message. This is very difficult to prevent this type of attack, but these attacks can be detected with some effort and attempts can be made to recover from them. These attacks can be in the form of interruption, modification, and fabrication. In active attacks, the contents of the original message are modified, trying to force us another entity that involves masqueradal attacks. Modification attacks can be classified further into replay attacks, alteration of a message, and fabrication causes denial of service attacks. Active attacks can be classified like this. Active attacks mainly classified into two types. One is called interruptions, modification, and fabrication. Again, modification will be classified into two types: replay attacks and alteration. Masquerade is caused when an unauthorized entity pretends to be another entity. For example, user C might pose as user A and send a message to user B. User B might be led to believe that the message is intended came from the user A. In masquerade attacks, an entity poses on another entity. Some other forms of active attacks also embedded. The attack involved capturing the user's authentication sequence, that is user ID and password. Later, these details can be used to gain illegal access to the computer system. In replay attack, a user captures a sequence of events or some data units and then resends them. Suppose user A wants to transfer some amount to user C's bank account. Both user A and C accounts with B. User A might send an electronic message to bank B requesting for the funds transfer. User C could capture this message and send a second copy of the same to bank B. Bank B would have no idea that this is an unauthorized message and would treat that this as a second and different fund transfer request from user A. Therefore, user C will get the benefit of the funds transfer price once authorized once through a replay back. Alteration of a original message that involves some change to the original message. For example, suppose user A sends an electronic message transfer of $1,000 to D's account to bank B. User C might capture this and changes it to transfer 10,000 to C's account. Denial of service attacks made an attempt to prevent legitimate users from accessing some services. An unauthorized user might send too many login requests to a server using random user ID, one after the other in quick succession. Because of this, there will be a traffic in the network and deny other legitimate users from using the network facilities. Another attack we can call as a practical side of attack. This the practical side of attack will be broadly classified into two categories. One is called as a application level attack, other one is called as a network level attacks. In the level attacks will be happen at an application level in the sense that attacker attempts to access, modify or prevent access to information of a particular application or to the application itself. For example, trying to obtain someone's credit card information on the internet or changing the contents of a message or change the amount in a transaction itself. Network level attacks. These attacks generally aim at reducing the capabilities of a network by a number of possible means. These attacks generally make an attempt to either slow down or completely bring to halt a computer network. This automatically can lead to application level attacks because once someone is able to gain access to a network, she is able to access or modify at least some sensitive information. This will cause havoc. Thank you.